Welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast, where we are finding hope and healing one episode at a time. No appointment needed, no rubber gloves, and no copay. Just a healthy dose of life lessons to help equip you for this wild journey we call life. Hey everyone, this is a friendly reminder that we are here for entertainment purposes only. We may not even be that entertaining at times, but this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor, check with your healthcare professionals before making any lifestyle changes or medicine changes. What we're talking about is our clinical experience and what we've seen. And so if you really want our advice, you can consult us. You can actually consult me as a doctor, or you can consult my guest and get all your questions answered. But we can't give free medical advice because we can't pay our bills with that, but we can help to educate you a bit and allow you to think a little bit. And always reach out to your medical professional before making any lifestyle changes. Thank you. Again, I want to thank my sponsors, Keto Mojo, keto-mojo.com. Great website, great people. They're doing great work in the community. They're doing a ton with education. So if you're looking for a ketone monitor or glucose monitor, they're a great resource. And check out their website. It's amazing. They have so much information, so much good stuff for us to all learn from. Also, of course, health code, gethealth.com, GETHLTH.com. Discount code MetHealth through this podcast and for metabolic health. They still have great chocolate and vanilla shakes and vegetarian offerings for those so inclined. But they're doing great work, and they also have a new berberine that a lot of people are raving about that has turmeric in it. So it's right up, what we're looking for our patients for improving metabolic health. So again, thank you for your sponsorship and for bringing these episodes, and thank you for listening. Hello and welcome back to the Life's Best Medicine podcast. This is a fun one for me because it's an old friend. We were just talking about it. He's been on, this will be his third time. Most people can't put up with me for 3 hours, but we always had great conversation, and I begged him to come on because I'm seeing what he's doing. I'm like, oh my goodness, we got to talk about these things. He's such a humble, cool guy. Eranda, welcome. And it was episodes 46 and 158. If you want to go back and listen to those, they're outstanding. I mean, really life-changing episodes. So if you haven't listened, go back. And he has more life-changing stuff for us today. So this is awesome. Welcome, man.
Hey, Brian. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and an honor because, like you said, we have some great conversations. And I think we first spoke to each other back in 2021. A lot's happened, and a lot's happened since the last time we spoke.
We were locked down last time we spoke.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Man, oh man. So give me the update, man. Give everyone the update. I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear the story.
Yeah, so I'm really happy and grateful to say that I've been working with my local church. So that's St. John's Church in Harpenden in Hertfordshire. And it was just a chance conversation with my vicar, my local vicar, Tim. I was at his house with my wife and my two children at a barbecue at his house and with his boys. And we just got talking about the health coaching work that I've done. So I've been a health coach now for about 3 years, a trained health coach. And I've been helping patients. So primary care doctors in the UK are GPs, so general practitioners. They've been referring patients to me, and I've been going through a structured course, teaching them lifestyle changes, and like the results have been amazing. I've coached about 58 patients now, which has been so rewarding.
And are these standard docs, or are these like the Dr. Unwins of the world?
Standard docs.
Wow, amazing. Amazing.
They've seen the light. They've seen the light.
Wow.
So I was part of the pilot where we had like 4 coaches, including myself, and we volunteered, and we ran a small pilot for about less than 40 patients across maybe a couple of different GP practices, and worked closely with the doctors, the GPs, They referred patients to us. And then now the program, I've personally coached about 58 patients. So my contribution has been fairly small. But then again, I'm working full time. I'm doing it for free. I've got 2 boys and a wife. But, I'm proud of myself for having made that
Well,
contribution.
58 people, 58 lives, that's a huge thing. And then because they're gonna help other people, and it's amazing the impact you can have.
Yeah, yeah. So that program, by the way, has helped over 1,000 patients now.
Wow.
Over 1,000 patients, and there's a study with the University of Surrey where they've got a control group. So that's a 2-year study to kind of demonstrate the efficacy of lifestyle-based approaches versus the standard of care, which is the eat well plate. So so no guesses there who's going to win out there. So
Yeah,
I'm yeah.
we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, it's not even a contest. But so as I said, so I was talking to my local vicar about the coaching stuff I do, and there's people in my local community who come up to me and said, like, that sounds amazing. Can you help me? I'm even willing to pay. But I guess my frustration has been at the moment, the work I've been doing through the public health collaboration is referral only. So the primary care doctor has to refer the patient to the program
Mhm.
and access a certain pot of money for the NHS. It's not possible for patients to self-refer. And I, I don't like saying no to people if I know I can help. I was talking to Tim about this, the vicar at my church, and then one thing led to another, and they said, "Look, you can use our church conference room in the church hall for free." And that was the key that unlocked everything, because after that, um, I have all the experience and the knowledge, both in terms of training, formal training, working with primary care doctors and kind of patients referred to me, and I've got my own personal story and lived experience as well. And most powerfully, um, my mum she came to live with me for about 5, 6 months, and that's the first time in my life I've seen someone come back to life and recover right in front of my eyes, because all the patients I've worked with, those 58 patients, it's been really rewarding work, but it's all been Zoom based. I've never actually met any of those patients in real life, and it's been amazing because like months after doing my course, one of my patients contacted me on WhatsApp to say, look, the reason I did the course was because I was going blind. I was having diabetic retinopathy. I've had my check, and not only has it arrested the decline in my eyesight's actually got slightly better. So it's actually reversed some of that damage. And he was saying, I'm really hopeful now that with the changes I've made, I'm not going to go blind. So that's the kind of feedback I've been getting, which
Yeah,
is
it's
amazing.
incredible. It's funny you say that because I've had that conversation 2 times on the podcast. I recorded a couple podcasts this week. Both brought that up that they either had retinopathy or they had seen patients with retinopathy that resolved or stabilized without progression, and that's pretty remarkable.
But then for the first time in my life, obviously I've been through my own kind of process, but and kind of health journey, reversing pre-diabetes and obesity. But in 5 months, so when my mum came to stay with us, uh, she was pre-diabetic, obese. Her mobility was severely limited to the extent that I had a kind of a collapsible wheelchair small enough to fit into the back of my car. So whenever we went somewhere, I had to use the wheelchair to help my mum. And when we first started, we go to church on Sunday. So at the beginning, so in June, when it was time to go to the front of the church to get a blessing from the vicar, I would take her to the front in a wheelchair. And then at the end of 5 months, she was walking herself using a frame, because there's been some permanent damage. So she's got vascular Parkinsonism. So I think the medical term is subcortical infarcts, where there's been microvascular damage, and that's kind of effectively killed small parts of the brain and led to kind of her mobility issues. So that's damage that can't be reversed. But then 5 months down the line, she's dropped like, I don't know, so about 5 kilos in weight. So that's like 10, 11 pounds in weight. But more than that, her waist has shrunk by about 5 inches, and she can walk. And not only that, when she came to us, she couldn't remember either of my son's names. And by the time 5 months had gone by, just through gentle movement. So we've got a physio that taught us some exercises, gentle movement, nothing crazy, very short walks, eating real food, doing a little bit of intermittent fasting. 5 months down the line, she just came back to life. And then seeing that was really powerful for me. And then, so I had this opportunity. So I've got the knowledge. I've got the facilities in terms of the resources of the church for free. And I kind of ran out of excuses. And so I thought, I'm going to do this. And that resulted in this, which is the course. So that is 250 pages.
I know. I'll just print it and read it over the weekend. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. 250 pages. I mean, you've done remarkable. I was looking through and it's amazing what you've done. It's an act of love, right?
It is. It is absolutely. It's absolutely a passion project. I love doing this.
Who put it together like that? Like it's like a book.
It
It's
is
not
like a
just
book.
like a handout. Like what? How did the church help you? How did you get the?
No. So literally, I kind of dumped my brain onto a page. Then I have used. I'm kind of getting used to using AI, so ChatGPT. It's really good at proofreading stuff. So you can give it something completely unstructured, and I can say, okay, so these are the points I want to cover, and it can do maybe 2-3 pages of A4 from one page of A4 and create kind of a module, if you like, for a course, or you can write something yourself, and it really helps with restructuring it. And it's like having somebody on tap to proofread everything you're doing as you're doing it on the fly. Plus all of the images in the course book, I've just input, okay, so this is the picture that I want, and give me 10 options. Show me option 1, show me option 2. Oh, I like that, so I'm going to use this.
It's incredible. It is
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. To be fair, AI still has a long way to go. It doesn't understand. It's not a human being. It doesn't have lived experience. As a really funny example, so with calories in, calories out, my big thing is that it's kind of putting the cart before the horse. Because with calories in, calories out, you kind of ignore why is that person overeating. And either it's because they're hungry, and that's due to lack of satiety because they're eating ultra processed rubbish, which isn't satiating and is lacking in nutrition. So that's that physiological hunger, which is a basic survival instinct. So if you're hungry, you're going to eat. So that's one reason. And then there's the psychological side of things. So if somebody is having stress in their marriage or stress in their work, or has got childhood trauma, or has had a lifetime of coping with difficult emotions in an unhealthy way, that's the reason. That's the underlying reason. So literally, if you focus on calories, it's like putting the cart before the horse. So I asked the AI, give me a picture illustrating this concept. And however I phrased the prompt, it always put the horse in front of the cart. It just couldn't get its head around, like, all the training data it had, like, told it that the horse needs to come first. So AI has its limitations, but it really amplifies your productivity. So I mean, to get this course done in such a short space of time, because this conversation I had with the vicar was a few months ago.
One, you have AI doing God's work, so that's kind of ironic, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's pretty cool, right? Like that you're gonna
yeah.
reach to, like, what was your vision? You want to reach the church?
So my vision was, I've never helped people face to face, and I wanted to do explore sort of the kind of intersection between hope and faith on one hand, community and knowledge. Because without those three things, I think you're really missing out on your chances of success. Because the hope has to come first, because that's the insight that there's something in your life that you're not happy about, and understanding that even vaguely that there might be something that you're doing. I mean, for some people it can be drinking too much, some people it can be smoking. Until a smoker or drinker comes to that realization that they want positive change for themselves, it's a complete waste of time talking to them about quitting. So it has to come from them. So the hope has to come first. But then if you don't have a supportive community and you're trying to do it by yourself, that's really hard. That's really hard. And then also, if you don't have the right methods and tools and knowledge that's evidence-based, so you can have an amazing community. Like, okay, so pick veganism, for example, right? That most people who have those ethics are lovely people, really kind, compassionate, lovely people with high ideals. But then the method isn't backed up by science or evidence, it's ideology. So you have this, you have the support and the community element, and you have the hope, but
But if it doesn't work, you lose hope immediately. It's got to work. Yeah, it's got to work what you're doing. And I
it's got
love
to
what
work.
you're saying because I just gave a talk in San Diego, and basically I was making the point is like, hey, the people who got on the Mayflower to leave the UK to come to, or to England to come to, well, whatever it was at that time, wasn't even the United States yet, but to leave to America, they either were escaping from something bad, like they were going to get thrown in prison, they were being persecuted, whatever,
Yeah,
or they were going towards something better. They go, look, I can make a better life. It's worth the risk to go across that ocean because things are bad enough, or I want a better life. And that's what, when we start this journey, that's the same thing. Is if you want a better lifestyle, you have to remember why you're doing. Because like they always say, it's what's your why. It's like, why am I doing this? Because if you don't know why you're doing it, you say, forget it. It's not worth it. Right. But if you know you want to be a doctor, you want to be a pastor, you want to know whatever, you want to be a Navy SEAL, it's worth it because they go, it's worth it. The pain I'm going through now because that's my goal. And I'm not going to stop before I get there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's fundamental. That I think there's the hope and the fear, right? So, like you said, you might be trying to get away from something terrible, or you might be moving towards what you think will be transformative in your life and positive. And personally, I'm increasingly coming to the view that hope or a positive reason for doing something is much more powerful. Simply because I think fear um, does not lead to good decisions in the long term. I'm going to mention the C word now, the COVID word, right?
But
Right.
fear,
So
you're right. I mean, that's we talked about that too at the time. It's like this
yeah,
fear that is so you can't think, you can't say, okay, what are my odds? What can I do to prevent, right? Are there
yeah,
reasonable things I can do? And so when you put people in fear, they don't make good decisions. Like if you're fearful, you jump out the window. You don't think about, you know,
yeah,
what
yeah,
floor you're on. You know,
yeah.
you have to reassess things. Yeah,
Sure.
for sure.
And, and once you've made someone afraid, how do you turn it off? How do you make them feel safe again? Because some people,
Some
you
people will
know,
never be safe again. Their
no,
minds are shot. They'll
yeah,
never be safe again because they're always in fear, like something bad's I'm gonna die, and like going through
yeah,
life, that is so miserable. Like
yeah,
honestly, I've spoke to people and they view other people as vectors, like they're gonna get them sick and they're gonna cause them a problem, they're gonna hurt them, and it's like, oh my goodness, that's a hard way to go through life. And
yeah,
you go, why do you want to extend your life if it's gonna be miserable and you have no social interaction, right?
yeah.
At some point.
Exactly. So the course that I put together, the first of 12 sessions, is completely based on what is your why? Why are you here? What are the positive reasons that you have for wanting to make changes in your life? Because um, how I've kind of positioned this course is this isn't a quick fix. So this is going to be similar in terms of the level of commitment that you need to getting married or raising a child, because it's your entire life and it's your entire rest of your life. And if you don't have a powerful reason, and if you don't understand why you're here and what difference being healthier is going to make to you in your own life, um, you're not going to make it in terms of making lasting changes. So you need that hope and understanding of so what? Because it's not numbers. Like if somebody says to me, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want my HbA1c to move from 50 to 40, those are just numbers. Those are just numbers. Whereas if somebody says to me, um, I can't play with my grandchildren because I'm in
Mhm.
too much pain. I feel tired all the time. They come to visit me. My children come to visit me with my grandkids, and I fall asleep because I'm so tired. Or my joints are aching, so I'm just sat down somewhere. I can't play with my grandchildren. I can't go to the playground with them and push them on the swings. I can't pick them up and cuddle them uh, because I'm so tired and fatigued. And if I felt better, um, maybe I can be the fun grandparent because at the moment, my grandchildren prefer their other grandparents because they're both slim and active and healthy and they kind of go to the playground and play with me and so on. Whereas I'm the tired, boring
Yeah.
because that is a meaningful reason.
Yeah, that's where we go. If you don't get out of bed, you don't move, you can't get up off the ground, you stop
Yeah,
doing it and you don't have fun. You don't go and dance at the wedding. You don't go do stuff because it's just too much effort. So you're
yeah,
right. Once you start living, you do that much better. And your mom moving in with you, having hope, having good nutrition, all those things are things that can really like you wonder. To me, when I hear stories like your mom's, and I've seen so many stories now where people, are they don't know anyone's name, and all of a sudden they're go back to work even. I've seen that. And you think,
yeah,
wow, dude, lifestyle, it's incredible. Like, like I wouldn't have believed this 10 years ago, maybe. But when you see it, you think that the sad part is you think, I wonder how many people, if someone invested in them, how well they can do. Like just instead of staring at the wall in a nursing home, could they
mhm,
be out interacting or helping other seniors or doing something positive at reading stories to kids at the library, whatever.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, everyone has a wealth of experience in something, right? Because my mum, I mean, she's had this amazing. I mean, she's a doctor. GP for many many years. She's really funny. She's very clever, and she's had this amazing uh, bittersweet life story. But
Yeah, everyone, if you hadn't listened, go back and listen to it. It's worth it. It's worth listening to. It's hugely
yeah,
impactful.
yeah, and it's such a joy to see her come to life again. And uh, there's so many people who are so tired and weighed down. So literally weighed down in terms of they're really heavy and carrying excess weight. But more than that, it's the cognitive overhead that it puts on a person. And it's the overhead that it puts on a person in terms of their sense of self-worth and their self-confidence and their ability to participate in life. Whether it could be going on holiday, if you're not well, you go on holiday, just gonna be in bed.
Yeah, I just
And
spoke at the low carb cruise and I was seeing how many people had to be pushed around by their family, relatively young people,
yeah,
but morbidly obese, like diabetic maybe, and like you can't, it's hard to, like you said, even with mom, when she had it's a lot, it's cumbersome. It's hard to say, oh, we got to get the wheelchair in the car. How are we going to do this? Oh, we don't have enough space. And it does change it. And you can't just say, oh, let's just go for a walk over here and let's go do something. It is definitely a challenge for sure.
yeah, yeah. And I guess the real tragedy is that people have this perception that making lifestyle changes is limiting without really taking into account the fact that their life is already limited. It's so limited. Like if you need a disabled badge in someone's car and you need to be driven somewhere and you need to be driven quite close to where you want to go, and even when you get there you're really tired and you have to be wheelchaired somewhere, and then you can't spend too much time there because you're tired easily and you need to go back and have a rest. That's all really limiting. Plus, if you've got chronic pain because your joints are inflamed, so people think that eating real food, doing intermittent fasting, going to bed on time and getting good quality sleep, and doing a level of movement that you can do at the time, all of those little things, they perceive that as limiting, but without really acknowledging the fact that their lives are already limited.
Yeah, it's
Um,
amazing. It is amazing. And then, the families say it's okay for them to be limited. They're old, so let them just sit there. And you go, well, might be
yeah,
better if they can go and, I mean, I've seen that before, just getting people out, to see new things or to use their brain or say, oh, let me tell you a story about when I came here when I was a kid, whatever. Those things are
yeah,
so healing for people. Being locked in your room, as we learned over the last few years, is the worst possible thing we could do for seniors.
yeah. I mean,
Isolation,
uh,
no exercise,
yeah,
poor nutrition, all that.
yeah. I mean, Brian, like, if you think about the worst people in society in terms of the really hardened criminals who've performed violent crimes, um, the worst punishment we have for them is isolation, right? So maximum security prisons,
And
uh,
even then,
right?
they got an hour a day for
Yeah,
exercise and to go out in the sun. Hour a
yeah,
day by law, right? You have to.
yeah, yeah,
But for us,
yeah,
our seniors, no, we don't have to do that. They could just lock in their house and, watch the
yeah,
news all day and worry. And it's horrific what happened. Really is horrific. Like I
yeah.
saw people decline dramatically in very short period of time, like without laughing, social engagement, seeing a face. I had a lady, she hadn't seen another face in 6 months, right? She
Wow.
hadn't seen a face in 6 months, like in her room, and they would knock
Yeah,
on the door, drop the food off. They go wait 20 seconds so they could leave the hallway and you could grab your food and go inside real quick so you don't get, you know,
yeah,
exposed
yeah,
to stuff. Yeah, it's just incredible. So
yeah.
with this 250 pages, how long is this program going to be so is this an official church thing, or is it they're letting you use their facilities? Is it like for the church, like members of your church will come, or is it like
Anybody
anybody?
that anyone that lives in Harpenden, so where close to where I live, so Harpenden, St Albans, Wheat Hampstead, anybody who lives close to the church and can physically come to the sessions. So it's like hybrid. So some of the sessions are face to face in the church, in the church hall, conference room. Some of the sessions are Zoom based, for a bit of flexibility. So it's literally anybody who wants some positive change in their life. So I've kind of narrowed it down to adults who have type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, are overweight or obese, or people who are at high risk of all of these things because of their family history, who want to get ahead and prevent any of those things happening in their life in the first place. So prevention. So literally anyone's welcome. So I'm looking for 12 to 14 people. I've got seven people who kind of already expressed interest and are going to go on the course. So I've got maybe another five to seven places open. I'm really grateful for having this opportunity to do this, because I've learnt so much by creating this course, because the previous initiative that I was a part of, I got trained as a health coach, but I was running a course that was already put together, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, this is yours. Yeah, this is
yes, this
yours
is
and what you
mine.
want to really influence people with and help
Yeah,
people because I think it grows. Like these kind of things grow. I did one at my church and with Brett Scher, a few other people, and it was amazing, like the impact it had on
yeah,
community and church. And you get a healthier church, you get
mhm,
healthier people in the community,
yeah.
and it grows from there. It's a huge deal. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. And the vicar has offered to for any of the participants who are interested to go on the prayer list. So anybody who is interested in faith and the power of faith, they could talk to the vicar and say, "Could I please go on the prayer list?" And then at the church service, every Sunday, there'll be a prayer for them, for their health and well-being and recovery and all those kinds of things.
Yeah,
So
that it's powerful stuff. I mean, anything
yeah,
you can get, anything you get, and getting the support, doing it with other people, like saying where you're struggling and having that
mm,
group. And as it grows, you start with 12 people and then it grows, right? Look what
uh-huh.
Jesus did. He didn't have a lot of followers, but once these
Yes,
people went out and said, "Hey, look," and then they start helping their families looking at them like, "What are you doing? Okay, let me try it. I'll eat with you for a while." And I've seen that.
yeah,
I have a lady, she's
yeah,
87 years old and changed her
yeah.
lifestyle and she helped her great grandson, her grandson. Like it's ridiculous. You look at that and go,
Um,
wow, and
yeah,
she became the evangelist and she reversed her diabetes and came off meds. And her family, when they brought her to me, said, "Hey, we're sorry. We like you, but we don't think you're going to be able to help her. She's so stuck in her ways." Well, we'll see. Let's see.
yeah.
And when she had the CGM, she's hilarious. She would see what things did. And I remember she's like, she used a different word, but darn pineapple I had. She's this dumb pineapple and apple, and look what it did to my sugars. And she realized all that. She goes, okay, I used to eat those every night, and now I'm like every once in a while I'll do it now. So it's really cool. Like once you get people on board and to
Mhm.
see how much work you put in. How long do you think this program will be to go through your book?
So it's 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
So it's 12 chapters and one chapter per week. And we have a friend of ours who has a son similar age to my son, and they used to go to the nursery together. They're a teacher, and they mentioned something in passing called flipped learning. So I'm using that approach in this course. So flipped learning means that you pre-record a short video, maybe half an hour, for that module, for that chapter, and each participant either reads that module or watches that video. So everybody comes to the session thinking, okay, so here are the general principles. What did I understand? What didn't make sense? How do I apply this to me? So that enables the actual session, the FaceTime, to be much more productive and personal, rather than me just sitting in front of a group of people and talking at them for an hour, which is not very effective. So I'm using a flipped learning
That's
kind of,
amazing. Yeah, that's
yeah,
great. Because then they
yeah,
could look at it beforehand. And I love that when patients come in and read stuff and look and they have some knowledge base and we could really get deeper that way. Because you're explaining the basics for an hour. It's like you can't get very much accomplished.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So 12 weeks. So in terms of elapsed time, I've kind of taken quite a practical approach because we're going to start on the 26th of September, which is a Thursday night between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time, and then do that every Wednesday, every Thursday, and then we're going to break for about 4 weeks for Christmas and New Year's because people are busy around that time. So we'll fit in probably 11 sessions before we hit the 4th of December, which is actually a Wednesday, because the church hall is booked up that Thursday for, I think, a music evening or something like that. So we'll finish session 11 on Wednesday, the 4th of December. Then
Wow.
we'll regroup on the 9th of January in the new year. And then that's the final session, which is session 12. And then the plan is to give ownership of the group to the group in terms of um, which among you or which one or two people among you like really enjoy being social secretary in terms of organizing things. So this is your group now, and let's get together once a month. And you can tell me, you can check with everybody when they're available, and then we can either do it face to face or Zoom based. You decide. It's your group, and let's keep meeting. And the expectation I've set is that to see transformational change, you should really give yourself between 18 to 24 months. So let's keep meeting, and 2 years from now, let's see where you are, and let's keep meeting so that kind of if you go off course, maybe in the beginning while you're motivated, you make lots of progress, and then a life stress happens and you have a
And the
few bad
holidays are going to be
decisions.
right in the middle of that. And yeah, like
Uh-huh.
that I could tell you that January is either going to be like people celebrating their victories or people going, oh gosh, I had a hard time. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's start here
Yeah.
again. And so that's instead of getting the whole year off, So it seems
Uh-huh.
like in January, like
Yeah.
I know when we did ours, we purposely had in January, people were like, okay, I got to make a change. I'm
Yeah.
feeling miserable. And so people were motivated, but doing the way you're doing is actually kind of cool because you got the holidays in there. And I was thinking when you said September, I'm like, okay, let me do the, that's the holidays. That's the hard part. So, but it's amazing. So, because you could support people before the holidays, say, here's how you can make a different type of pumpkin pie. Here's how you can enjoy the holidays without
Yeah.
like totally going off the rails and having eggnog 30 times a day, that kind of thing. And it's pretty amazing, like what you can accomplish. It would
Exactly.
be cool. I don't know if you're planning on doing this, but it would be cool if you like encourage people to get their measurements, like waist measurements, hip measurements, laboratories
Definitely.
done before you start
Definitely.
it would be really cool because you could turn this into
Definitely.
a research project, right?
Absolutely. So I'm going to, if they have it, I'm going to capture HbA1c, waist circumference, weight, um, and so those are the main ones. So waist circumference, HbA1c, and weight. Um, so those are
Another
the,
thing that might be interesting is just doing a some kind of a brief mood, uh, write down what their mood is like. You know,
yeah,
how do you
yeah,
feel
yeah,
about life? Just writing a little short thing because I've
yeah,
had people, and then when they look back at their logs, they go, "Oh my goodness, I was so negative, and why was I like that? I was stressed about everything." And then they realize, like, wow, when I get my nutrition and my lifestyle right, it's a
yeah,
huge
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah,
and that's a huge part of this. So it's
yeah,
amazing, and it'll be
yeah,
amazing what kind of what happens in the church too. Because I've always felt kind of called to like do a metabolic health, like a month of metabolic health, and then do
yeah,
like
yeah,
some intermittent fasting, time restricted eating, short like
yeah,
48 to 72-hour fast with people and see
yeah,
what that ignites in the church. Because right now we can't
yeah.
fast because we're metabolically sick. Forget it. It's like penance rather than growing closer to God, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned that. So actually, part of the course, I've actually gone into that in terms of mentioned kind of the biblical story of Christ, fasting for 40 days. Then in Buddhism, the Buddha fasted for many weeks before he attained enlightenment. So fasting, it's part of Christianity. It's part of Judaism. It's part of Buddhism. It's part of Islam. Pretty much any culture anywhere. So that we kind of go into that as part of the course, just to give people the comfort that this is not new. People have been doing this for thousands of years. So at the very least, it's safe because people have been doing it for thousands of years. And if it wasn't safe, we'd know about that. So at the very least, it's safe. But now we have the evidence to show that it actually has some really, really tangible benefits that you can measure. And having done fasting myself, there is a spiritual aspect to it for sure. And there's this peace of mind, this calm, this state that you get when you're kind of deep into a fast, which is difficult to describe. It's like going to a place that you can only access in a certain way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, energy, focus, clarity. And so many people have come to, I've had that where I'm either fasting or hiking in nature and I go, oh, that's the answer I was looking for. Why didn't I think about that before? Well, because your brain's
Yeah.
cluttered and you're thinking and you can't get sometimes you can't just slow down enough to where you can think. And kind of like
Mhm.
what you said before, I 100% agree that fear keeps you from having original thoughts. It keeps you from doing things. And fear keeps us from achieving. Like fear, if your fear takes you go, one's that no one likes this program, one's that I put all this time in, what, and we have all these doubts and fears, and sometimes you go, okay, I'm gonna do it and we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
it's powerful stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. And the
Yeah.
people who show up are gonna be definitely benefited, I mean, people pay a lot of money for that stuff to volunteer and
Yeah.
be able to say, hey, I can help you. Like, let's
Yeah.
let's work together. And then you'll
Yeah.
see how the group starts helping each other go, oh, I was craving cookies too. Here's what I did. Here's what I did for the holidays. And it's amazing when you can sit back and just listen and go, wow, these guys got it. They got it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I'm hoping that of the 10 or 12 people that join, that at least one of them, maybe a year from now, um, gets inspired or motivated to become a health coach themselves. And then, sort of, as the years go by, maybe create a community of health coaches. Because, I'm just one person, so I'm limited to 12, 14 people at a time. But, you know, next year, our capacity might be 28 people. And the year after that, it could be 40, 50 people, depending on who's got motivated enough to kind of give something back to the community and do a bit of training and come up with their own style, of course. Because I mean, you've seen the course, and it's very personal to me. Uh,
It's
you know,
amazing. It's amazing. I'm looking at it going, wow, this should be like all the churches should be going, okay, we want to do it at our church. We want to do it too. Like, just for there's so many people in the church, they don't do their ministry because they're 200 pounds overweight. They think no one will take them serious. They feel like they're not attractive to get, and it's a hard thing because so many people are limited by their appearance or by their mental outlook or the lack of mental clarity. So when people
yeah,
get healthier and you see them like your mom interacting, doing stuff, going up front to get prayer, and you go, man, like
yeah.
maybe she wasn't able to do that before.
Mhm.
And just to be able to walk with a walker, we say walker out here. So my
Yeah, yeah, well,
listeners
okay,
know.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, because you sit in a wheelchair all the time. Guess what? You get bed sores, you get ulcers, you get all these things that happen. So just being out of the wheelchair in a walker is a huge deal. And people
yeah,
don't realize that. So many seniors are ashamed. And it's funny because where my mom lives is all seniors, and like they just line all their
right,
walkers up like the kids line their bikes up, and they all decorate it. They have little things on there. I'm like, that's kind of cool, So
yeah.
you don't feel like an outcast because like it's normal,
Mhm. It
you
is
know?
normal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that is so cool, actually. I've seen those walkers. Now that my mum is of an age where she needs a walker, I've started seeing them everywhere. They were there all the time. I just didn't see
Yeah, yeah,
them.
you're just not tuned into it, right?
Yeah, I just didn't see them. And like I can now tell, okay, that's a really good model. that's really kind of high spec one. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
you get
Stuff we
the
didn't have to know before. Now we have to know it. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, I think just getting people motivated and getting people together, community stuff. There's healing in all that you're doing. So I'm really excited. When I heard you were doing, I'm like, okay, let's come on and talk about it because it's pretty remarkable,
yeah,
because it's a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time and thinking
yeah,
and
mhm,
AI and whatever it is, and but you get it
yeah,
together and then you go, oh, look, I got this, I got this together, and like you see
yeah,
the impact it can have.
yeah,
And yeah, I'm excited about it. And
yeah,
I think and you get the reward too by knowing you help these people when you see someone that's coming off their insulin, coming off meds. And I
mhm,
just talked to someone yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he was asking about metabolic health stuff, and I explained all these type 2 diabetic with a bunch of meds and everything. And he said, yeah,
right,
it's not really my problem. I really don't eat sugar. And then we were at a gathering and I watched him leave with 6 cookies in his hand. I was like,
right,
it's denial, like denial. Like, okay, this is just exception. But if you have the exception most days, it's a
yeah,
problem, So, and sometimes it's just getting that education. So I'm like, I want to help this guy go, give me a month of your life and let me just see what we can do. Right.
yeah,
Just give me
yeah,
a month. I'll volunteer my time because I know you'll be an evangelist for me. But, it's
yeah,
one of those things you go, gosh, we know we can fix these problems. It's just
yeah,
investing the time and effort, and it has to be an effort on both sides. Like you have to have the right audience, you have to have the right people there who go, Look, really, I'm ready to make a change." Because if
mhm,
grandma, we've discussed this on my medical mission trips and things I've done. And if
yeah,
someone's dragged there by their friend says, this guy needs to go, like they don't get the rewards. It's usually that people go, no, I want to be there. I really want to experience this, and that
yeah,
they do better. Yeah, it's just like you said, having like that positivity of wanting something. So if you
mhm,
want something, like
yeah,
and I've seen on my pages, no doubt. Like I have some people that go, "Oh my gosh, I had to give up donuts and I didn't have the pizza, and everyone had pizza, and I didn't do this." And instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, I had a steak and I loved it, and I had some salmon, it was so good." And the people who are positive, it's easy because when you think it's a drudgery and torture the whole time, you're not going to want
yeah.
to do it.
No, no, it's yeah, it has to be rewarding. Like, if you think about James Clear and his Atomic Habits, one of his key things is make it attractive. So
Yes,
whatever habit you want to form, whether that's like eating healthier, walking, sleeping better, whatever it is, you got to find a way of making it attractive
exactly,
because habit formation is reward driven. So, and this is where community can be really powerful because in that early stage, so you're making all these changes and it feels really weird because you're doing things differently to how you've done it for your entire life. And you don't have anything to show for it in terms of something that is a number. So at that stage, a community can be really powerful because you get the reward of the recognition for trying. You reward effort, not results.
exactly
Uh,
right. Yeah,
right?
exactly right. Yeah, and I think that's it. So many people, we want the results right now. If we don't have 10 pounds of weight loss in the first 3 days, like forget it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
Well, give it some time, give it some effort, keep going, plugging along. And I think
yeah,
persistence is the huge thing. And people that just they put their shoes on every day and go for a walk and they do this slow thing. And you think
yeah,
about it, like some people have like 300 pounds to lose, right? And that's a hard, like, how do you keep motivated when you're doing it?
yeah, yeah,
And you go, just keep one step at a time, keep one step at a time. And there's so many people that we've interviewed that we see them now and you go, oh my gosh, what amazing thing, just being persistent, not giving up and, getting
yeah,
back to the gym and doing your thing. And, and that's the power of community is having, people that encourage you, get you going. It's funny because for my talk, I have a few Navy SEALs that I take care of, and I asked them all. I said, I don't know if you know that Navy SEAL culture, but when you're going through
yeah,
all this training in the mud and sand and cold water and miserable, yelling at you being yelled at all day, all you have to do
yeah,
is ring the bell. There's this bell. You ring the bell and you're done. You could go and have cookies and pizza and do what you want to do. And I
right,
go, what? I asked three of my patients, at least five people that I know, but three of my
right,
patients, I asked them, I go, what kept you from ringing the bell? Like, did you ever think about it? And they go, if you didn't think about it, you're lying, because everyone gets to that point. And I said, what kept you going? And all of them said it was the
yeah,
guy next to me. Either encouraged me, I didn't want to let
yeah,
him down. Like
yes,
that's what did it. It wasn't for me necessarily, but it was like I can't let my team down. I can't like there. And they would say it's not like it's funny because one of my buddies goes, they would jump in the water. It was freezing cold, and his friend jumps in. He was thinking about quitting. He goes, I think I'm done. And he goes, jump in. It's pretty warm today. And he goes, really? He goes, yeah, it's warmer than usual. He jumps in. He's like, you liar. He goes, yeah, I know. I didn't want you to quit. It's cold.
Right.
It's
Nice.
cold, you know. But he said, but you're not
Yeah.
going to quit on me. And so, things like that, where you like that when you have a group effort. And I'll
Mm.
tell you, and this is the thing I would warn you about is have people who will in the group or outside the group that will reach out, because the people who don't show up are the ones who need it the most.
Yes.
Because if like church, whoever needs church the most isn't going to church because they don't want to be
Yeah.
convicted and feel bad when they go there and go, everyone else is doing great except me. Well, it's okay. And you get there and everyone says, yeah, I'm struggling too, right? And that's the amazing thing of a group. And so
Yeah.
many times on my group, so many times the person goes, like they get really impacted by that meeting. And they go,
Yeah.
I was thinking of every excuse not to come. I didn't want to talk to people. I've been blowing it all week. And someone else was like, yeah, me too. I had a hard week too. And like someone else, I did too 2 weeks ago. Here's what I did. And like
Yeah.
it's healing and we need that community. And I think that's something that,
Yeah.
when you look at the history of civilization, it was that community where they helped each other and watch out for each other. And that's why kind of what we started is we've kind of gone in this whole circle here, but
Yeah.
to be fearful of your neighbor, fearful of people, fearful that they're going to give you a disease, it's a really
Yeah.
hard place to live because you can't really have community.
Yeah. 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 And we're social animals, right? We're social people, and uh, we need. It's a basic human need to have connection. And it depends on the person. Some people need lots and lots of connection and like a huge community of friends. Some people just need a close knit circle of family and friends. We're all different, but we all need people that we can trust and we can connect with. Uh, I'm very grateful that I have my wife, I have my two boys, have my family and close circle of friends, and uh, gratitude is something kind of that's central to this course as well, because you'll see it from the course book. There's a page for every day of the course, and the top of the page is a gratitude journal. That's the first thing on the page. Before anything else,
Yeah.
before anything else, gratitude. Three things today that you're grateful about.
Yeah.
That's the first thing before anything else.
Yeah, you start your day off that way. I'm telling you, having gratitude, being grateful for the sun being out or going for a walk or whatever it is, for your
Yeah,
family, for your house, for your kids, like showing that
yeah,
gratitude, it puts you in a different mindset. I do that
yeah,
with my wife now. We have our coffee, we talk about good things in life and what we're thankful for and appreciate the moment. And
yeah,
it's a huge thing. And yeah, just doing that, those 3 times every day that is massive for people do not realize the impact. We've had several people that I've talked to say we call it vitamin G for gratitude. Have
yes.
gratitude.
Benazadi,
Ben Azadi in particular. Yeah, yeah.
Benazadi.
Ben and I
Yeah,
had a whole podcast on gratitude and the
yeah,
benefits, and
yeah, yeah,
it's amazing. So like we're grateful for you and what you're
yeah.
doing. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And so I have to ask you, what's life's best medicine? Now, this will be your third time. So I don't get a third time guess very often. And you can change your
Yeah.
answer. So right now, what's
Yeah.
life's best medicine for you?
I have a whole prescription now, because I've been giving this a lot of thought, and it's things like gratitude, community, love, social connection, um, all of these things. That's what makes being human bearable and joyful. And I think life's best medicine. I've been listening to you talk about a particular community where they didn't particularly have good habits in terms of drinking or smoking or whatever, but their disease rates were
Yeah.
much lower, much lower.
Yeah, that
Not
was
even
Roseto,
close.
Pennsylvania, where there were Italian
Exactly,
immigrants eating
exactly.
pasta bread, smoking, drinking,
Right,
and they live
right.
longer than their coronary disease was zero. I mean, compared to the
Yeah,
rest of the country. Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. So they had that protective halo of having close family connections, and knowing that their worth, because people around them love them and connected with them and cared about them, right?
And you proved the point, like bringing mom, right? Bringing mom there, and look at, like, now mom's flourishing. Now your kids are going to flourish by knowing mom and having it, right? And so that's what they
Yes.
had. That's what they
Yeah.
had. They had this
Yeah.
connection and this respect. And grandma and grandpa had a motivation because they had to take care of their grandkid. Like, you and your wife want to go out to dinner. We got the kids. Don't worry, right?
Yeah.
And you can relax and enjoy the moment, not worry about the kids at home with some babysitter. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, all those things are so, so important. And
Yeah.
thank you for joining me. And it's so critically important. We're going to run this on Low Carb MD and Life's Best Medicine because, I think it's so important. I think people need to hear this message. So we need to get it to as many people as possible. So if people want to join your group, we still have some time. So if people want to join your group or find you, how do they track you down?
So it's open to anybody that lives in kind of the Harpenden area. So it's, let me just look this up. So St. John's Church, Harpenden. So the website for the church is so St. John's Harpenden. So that's STJOHNS Harpenden, which is HARPENDEN.org.uk. So that's the website for the church, and they can contact the parish office to register interest. And yeah, so any adult who wants to make a positive change in their life, who've been living with type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, obesity, or overweight, anyone's welcome. So it's a hybrid approach. So there'll be a mixture of in-person sessions and kind of remote sessions through Zoom. There'll be a WhatsApp group so that members can support each other between the sessions. And it's an open-ended project. I'm thinking at least maybe to 18 to 24 months, which is a reasonable timescale to achieve kind of some significant transformative results. So anyone's welcome.
Yeah, and I would love to do a follow-up, and maybe you bring one of the people who join your group and see what their
Yeah,
outcomes are. That would be kind of cool. Just that would be a fun discussion.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
just that you're bringing hope and education and community. So huge, so huge. So how about on social media?
Social media. So I'm at Eranda W. So that Eranda W1. So that's ERANDAW1. I'm on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. I'm Eranda Wickramasinghe. There's not many of me, so hopefully I should be quite easy to find on
Yeah.
on Facebook.
If you go to Rhonda, we'll find you, man. Generally, will
Yeah,
pop up. Yeah, you're easy to find.
yeah.
But man, thanks for joining me again. It's so great. And everyone, this is gold standard stuff. This is Life's Best Medicine. We talked about a lot in the last hour, community, hope, helping people, lifestyle, like getting away from the pain, moving towards pleasure, looking towards something positive, and don't give up. I think that's it. His mom's a story, and I've seen it. There's stories of people that we see that they reverse horrific conditions and they're able to remember your grandkids' names again and play ball again and lay on the ground and get up and move and walk. And really, it's you're gonna live longer if you're enjoying what you're doing. And I'm seeing massive decline around me in seniors, and it's something we got to change this. We got to really, we're in big trouble. Even worse, we have massive decline in kids. So we all have to work together. And what Iranda's doing and his community, I think if you're listening and you're inspired to help your community, I think reach out, do what you can. If you know a lot about this stuff, give a talk. Reach out to people in need. Go to a nursing home and tell stories. I don't care what you do, you will be rewarded greatly. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and thank you for listening. And Aranda, thank you for joining me, man. I know. What time is it for you, by the way?
It's just coming up to 11 o'clock now, so
Oh
it's
man, oh man, you're a miracle. All right, everyone, thank you.
thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. We would greatly appreciate a positive thumbs up on all of the platforms like iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're listening. And we just thank you for our Patreon supporters. We greatly appreciate that you're helping getting this message out. We think there's a lot of important information, and hopefully this helps you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.